Hey everybody, Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And I gotta make some scatter terrain for my bunker. Or not my bunker, my hangar. So I know there's some pieces I specifically want to make. So I'm gonna start with those. I did not clean up yesterday. Probably not gonna clean up again today. I'll clean up tomorrow. Alright. So I want to make bastions, like road bastions. And they're about 3 foot tall, I think. I don't know. So 1 inch is equal to 5 foot. Now I want this to be about 7.5 to 8 foot wide. And I want it to be about that big. So let's make a bastion first. And I think they're kind of crimped upwards a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that. Now I'm going to cut off 2 thin pieces from here to put on either side of the bottom. So this is going to be my shape of my bastion. And then bastions are not made out of corrugated steel. They're made out of concrete. So let's get some cardstock. This is a little thicker than I want. I need like that really thin stuff. What do I have here? Perfect. This will do everything I need it to, and more. Okay. So I want to cut a straight edge to work with. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to, that's 1.5 inches wide, right? Yep, too easy. My square is 1.5 inches wide. And then this needs to soften up. I need to make this kind of pliable. So we want to break that fiber up so that it's pliable. And if you just kind of rub this and massage it and twist it and bend it a little bit, it'll make this pliable. Whereas this one's a little sturdier. This one's going to have some room to get into the cracks and do what I want. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start down here on the side. I want to get that on there. So I have a good And then I want to get in my crack here. And I want to push that in there like that. See how now it's going to have that shape of a bastion. Okay, and then I need this to be kind of weighted and sturdy, so I'm going to get a little bit more there. I'm going to bring it up to the edge. I'm going to get my top part here. I'm going to fold that over. Okay. And I'm going to keep coming down. This is super warm. I feel like my gun's just not been behaving correctly lately. Okay. I'm going to let that cool for a moment and really get a good bond before I move on too much from here. A pair of needle noses would be great for this. Okay. Get some in there. Hold that down. I'm going to come across the bottom. And close that up. Okay. Let's get this side crimped a little tighter too. All right, then we're going to have some excess to snip off. Cool, cool, cool. Now, we need to do our edges of our bastion. A glue stick. And we'll just set that on there like that. Let that cool. Then we'll cut around there. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then, if you have some texture paint left over from the Hangar, which is just a little bit of paint and baking soda and shit, it'll give you your concrete kind of look you need. Pretty easy, I'm thinking. We need a base for this too. What do I got up here? I say up here, I mean on my table. Alright, this is a piece of game board. Let's see if this will work. Sure will. Yeah, that's going to do nicely. Alright, so let's get our knife. And just cut around the bastion. Now, I've never built a bastion before. But I've, driven by a lot of them and seen them at security gates and stuff, like in the Army. These are one of the things they use to like deflect traffic. They'll have them like staggered, like cantilevered, or whatever you call that. Not cantilevered, but fishboned. And this base is going to be just like the floor of the Hangar, but it's going to be a little elevated. So I'm going to just kind of use some dollar blades need drawing cuts. A drawing cut just means that I'm dragging it. Kind of like adding a one-way sawing motion. Let me tell you guys, I often have like thoughts, intrusive thoughts of things I should, not that I should, that I want to say. And I am glad that I am mature enough to stop myself. I was about to tell you guys some pretty dark shit, but I managed to stop. Now, you really don't even need to base these, probably. I'm guessing that it'll do the job without it. But I don't want it to be too easy to knock over. So I'm going to put my bastion on a base. If you're doing modern campaigns, this would be a super useful piece to have as a bastion, in my humble opinion. Okay. Then so we have a little handle to work on it. Just going to get a dibby dab of glue here, stick it to that. And I'm going to get my textured paint that I used the other day out. And a crappy brush. And this is just crappy paint with some baking soda in it. And it's going to give it a kind of a concrete look. And you're going to come back and you're going to paint your base to match whatever kind of terrain you need it to match, whether it be a road or, you know, blacktop maybe, you know. And then you're going to want to do like a dark gray and then dry brush gray on the concrete bastion. So that's that. I'm going to set it over in front of the fan. It's cold in here, so it probably won't dry when I come back to it, but we'll see. The next thing I want to do is put like one of those construction kind of signs. So since we know this is kind of square already, we'll just use this. And we'll use the other half of this. All right, so we need 2 uprights, and to do my uprights, I'm just going to get some toothpicks because they're inexpensive and readily available. And I like both of those categories. I want these to sit vertical, so I'm going to get some dabs of glue. I'm going to get these, I'm going to twist it around on there and get lots of surface area. And I'm going to stick those upright, close as I can to a 90. And I'm going to let that cool for a second. Up, it's all over the place. Okay. Once I'm confident those are kind of where I want them, I'm going to get a tiny dab of super glue on the bottoms. I'm just going to run it about 1/3 of the way down and let it drip. Let me get a little bit more on my base here. And using a cutoff from my cardstock, I'm just going to kind of rub that around. Like this. I'm just using that as a salt to paint, make like a paintbrush kind of, just to smear that around. There's a piece of spider web in there. I'm not going to let that ruin my day. I'm just going to leave it. Do I have a spoon? I usually have a spoon. There it is. I'm going to get a spoon and a light coat. Now this should be pretty sturdy, I'm guessing. I'm going to do one more drop on each side, and then, like I said, let it run down about a third of the way. I'm going to get a couple drops in the middle. And let it kind of work its way out on that baking soda. I'm going to get something to make it a handle to work on it. All I got there is a paint lid from spray paint. There you go. Just get that centered on there. Where's my spatula? I threw it away because it had glue on it. I'm going to make a new one. And I'm just going to kind of rub that around. Make sure it's evenly spaced again. Covering everything I need to get covered. Alright, sturdy birdie. Now let's get my piece here and hope it fits. It does. I'm just going to get some glue. Let's do it this way. And I want this to be semi-permanent. So I'm going to deal with those little spider webs. I'm just going to get a dibby dab of super glue on there. And I'm going to get a little piece of this stuff and kind of rub it around on there and just solidify this. I'm going to go set that in front of the fan for now, too. Now, one of the things about this fight is that every 1d3 rounds, a spotlight goes off. Well, it's not a spotlight, it's like a flash of light goes off. And if you don't close your eyes in time, it could blind you. So I'm going to take a Hero Click base. This would be good for what I need. And I'm going to make a device. So this is something that my wife gave me. I don't know if it's from a toy or what it's from. But my hopes had been that I would be able to use that on there. I'm not feeling like that's a good fit. We can try it though. I wanted to make my light on this thing. So let's try it. I wish I knew what this is from so I could tell you. I might have known it one time. I've had this for quite a while. All right. That is actually a good size for that. I'm going to hit it with my hot air gun. Well, let me get it on a base so I can easily have a handle. Just like that. And I just want to make sure this thing takes paint. So I'm just getting the surface kind of hot. All right, then I need something to be up here. And I need something to use as like a control panel for it, maybe, on the stem. So I'm just getting cut-offs from, left over from the hanger. If I can pick them up. I'm just going to use this to make a little control panel on that. I'm just adding a little natural curvature to that. I'm going to try to get that straight up and down the best I can on that stem. I'm calling that piece the stem. It might not be a stem. Then I need something to be the light on top. Any kind of small ball or gem or anything you have could work for this. So let me look and see what I got. There might be something just laying right up here that'll work. I don't know. Or I might have to go into one of my gem boxes. I don't know yet. Let's go into a gem box. Or not box, gem tub. That's too small. That's what I want. All right. So it might be wise to find a piece of skewer or something. Let's see if I have a skewer piece lying around. No, I'm not cut a new skewer. Okay, well that happens. So what I'm thinking is I want to use that to kind of hold this for a second. And then it's going to sit down in there, maybe touching the base. We'll cut it a little bit long at first. Then I can come back and snip it to fit easier after this cools. I want to get a little bead around here. So it's sturdy and stays where I want it to. Something like that. And then let's make sure I have to cut how much I have to cut off. Oh, that doesn't go all the way down, so I'm going to cut off quite a bit. So that's about an inch there. Let's try that and see if it's enough. Oh, it's super close. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna get glue on that. I'm gonna shove that down in there. And certify that. Then I just have that little bump of glue right there that didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And I'm just gonna clean that up. And I'm just gonna make sure I don't have any more glue sticking up anywhere. Okay. Now on this panel, we wanted to have some kind of controls or buttons. So to do that, I'm going to cut some really tiny rectangles. Doesn't have to be rectangles. If you're bougie, you can make circles. I made a bunch in case I lose some. Now I have way too much glue on this one, and I can't, because of capillary action, I can't get it to, here we go. Or because of surface tension, I need capillary action. And guess what? A little bit of fire will actually provide that capillary action. Okay, so this looks like it should be everything we want it to be. I'm going to get a little dab of glue. And then I'm just going to get a piece of this leftover stick. And I'm going to smear that around in that gap and around to get a good bond. To make sure that if that gets too hot, it doesn't come off. Right. So there's my flashing light, and there's how you would turn it off. You would either access the control panel and hack it, or you would blow it up. But if you blow it up, it's actually going to add a second layer to the fight. So I'm going to put that over in front of the fan until we come back. All right. Look here. More game board cardboard. All right, so I have a bastion. I have like a warning sign or a construction sign, like a hazard sign. I have a flashing light. And there's one more thing I need in this fight. This is a projector that sits in the corner, and actually, unless they pass an awareness or spot or search or investigation or whatever you're using in your system, unless they pass a check to notice it, they actually won't see this. This is something that is going to be kind of a, I don't know how to explain it, not a part of it. So I'm getting a couple of my Dollar Tree counting blocks for this. I'm getting 2 of my Dollar Tree counting blocks. I'm going to glue those together, just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to glue that to the base. This base is probably way too big for what I needed, so I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to cut some of that off. Okay, perfect. All right. I'm going to get this, and I'm going to put it on here, and then snip the excess off. This is serving a purpose. You might not see this yet, but you want this to look like crates or something. You don't want this to be immediately noticeable as a projector. So a good camouflage is how you do that. You fudge. But there we go. All right. And then I'm going to, on this side, put a small dot. These are from the Dollar Tree. They're like those little gems that I use for rivets, but they're different sizes. And I got a sheet of these for like $1.25 of different sizes. And that's going to be my projector that sits anywhere in the room and creates holograms that misdirect you. So let's get that on a paint lid for easy handling. Whoops. I'm just going to get a couple of dibby dabs of glue on this. Paint it around so it's good and sturdy. Nothing ever comes off. That's way too much glue. I can smell and tell already. But the good news is, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now what would be really cool is if I can find any of those little pieces I cut and get one of those on there to look like a button or a panel or something. Oh shit. There we go. Something like that. I'm going to go throw that in front of the fan for a minute. Alright, now, so the story goes is that tank bots are different than many of the other robots. They were kind of like a Terminator, or sorry, not Terminator, a Robocop meets ED-209. The concept was that they would have like a person brain inside of like this giant tank so that they can make rational and reasonable decisions. So what I want to do is get some little, oh my god, I got water everywhere. Son of a bastard. What I want to do is, I don't have a lot of time to do this. I want to make a robot with a human head, but I guess we're not going to have time. Alright, so there should be some traps in this room, so if you haven't made any traps, this is a good time to make some traps. If you head to the Dollar Tree, you can get a box of these little like gear looking things. And if you have these kind of beads, these cheapy beads like this, you'll find that these kind of fit in there pretty good. Like that. Okay. So then, on the side that's going to be down, you can just kind of get a little bit of glue. Like that. On the side no one's going to see. And you can seat that on there pretty well. Okay. And that's going to be on the bottom. We're not going to see it. That's a spinning trap. There's going to be 2 spinning traps in this particular fight. So the easiest thing to use would be what? Any kind of round base, right? I'm going to use water bottle lids because I think they are good size for something like this. So they're good size and they have some cool texture that you can utilize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take mine after I get this side nice and cool. That's the side you see. I'm going to get a wire brush and just kind of rough that up a little bit. Just like that. And you can make it really spin if you wanted to. I don't know if I really care if mine spin though. That's my problem. Well, okay, let's make it spin, in theory. I just had a piece of damn wood. There it is. So if you want this to spin, it's too easy. You can do that. Get a piece of this longer than what you need. Get a dibby dab of glue. Oops, shit, you bastard. There we go. Dibby dab of glue. Get good surface connection. Drag it around and get it on there. And then in theory, if you wanted it to spin, you could set it on there after it's good and dry, and it'll spin. Okay, if you want yours to spin. And that's pretty easy to do. You just throw that on there, set it here, and then you don't want it flying off, right? So you cut your stem off so there's not too much clearance. And then you get one of these gems from that same Dollar Tree thing I was telling you about, something like this. Oops. just like that. Okay. The hell? Dang. What is up with the adhesive that comes on the bottom of these things? This shit is badass. Man, that's on there. All right, where's my heater? Right, that's how you make a spinning one. I don't want a spinning one though, and I only had 2 of those bottle caps with me. Let me find something else. No. I don't have any more of those bottle caps to make another one out of this. I'll just take this one apart. I got another bead here. I don't want mine to spin. All right. Now, to get that on there, I'm just going to put a dab of glue here centered. I'm going to stick that on the best I can for my blade trap. Okay. Those are going to make convincing and decent blade traps. To paint those up, too easy. I'm just going to get a lid here. Tiny drop of glue on the inside so it kind of runs down. Let that hold it in place. And when that settles, those will be glued to that. All right, let's go grab something. So this is the bastion, and it's mostly dry. I'm just going to grab some paint and get right into it. Using my favorite crappy brush and my favorite color pavement, I'm going to get a dab of water. I'm going to paint my bastion gray. And my base. With less attention to perfection on the base than on the bastion. I definitely want the bastion to be covered well. The base is hit or miss as to how much I care. Need more water. So you don't want to lose texture. So you want to make sure this paint's thin, or you'll just be painting your texture off if it's not settled. If it's not set, not settled, set. Okay, now I will say this, there's a little bit of red showing through there that I don't like, so I'm going to come back with a little bit thicker of a coat. I'm going to chalk that up to me being lazy on the base coat. Okay. So for my bastion, this is an easy one. Something like this, right? I'm gonna dry my brush as soon as I find my t-shirt. There it is, out of my spleen. I'm gonna dry this off real quick. I'm going to get a medium gray. That's probably what I used yesterday. That pewter. I'm going to use that same brush wherever the hell I put it. I'm going to get it pretty wet. I'm going to drag that around. It's like a milky, a little bit thinner than soy sauce, more of a skim milk kind of wetness. You want to kind of get it as many, you want to get decent coverage. But you want to be kind of watered down and thin, decent coverage. You want to lighten this up, but you don't want to paint it exactly this color yet. And that inconsistency is going to help contribute to the next step. I'm going to throw that brush out. I'm going to dry this off again. I was just thinking how much easier that would have been just to get my hot wire like thing and make a whole bunch of this at once, but you guys might not have that, so it doesn't matter. All right, piece of cardboard. Oh, my spleen. I'm getting a lighter gray. This is called elephant gray. Oh, that's not it. Let me get a little teeny bit of that. And a makeup brush from the Dollar Tree. When there's almost nothing left, I'm going to do a little bit of dabbing on the base. And that's pretty easy to make bastion. You could even do one step lighter. And it would probably work good. Work well, not good. Let's try it. So this is called Country Gray. This is super light. And it's like got a hot tone under base. Or under, like the base of it is a hot tone instead of a cold tone. Do you guys understand how tones? Never mind. I don't even understand it. Try to teach you a class on shit I don't know. No, I won't. I like you guys just a little bit more than that. So that's my bastion. That was a real easy paint job. We'll set this off to the side. We'll get rid of that dry brush. We probably won't need that again. Hello, bastion. This is a nice, get a nice clear coat. Go on my table. The next thing we had is the sign. So using a pretty wet brush, I'm going to paint my base pavement. Reoccurring theme here. We'll be using a lot of pavement. Okay. How does this fight work, by the way? Okay, so you guys saw the bot. It is the size huge or size gargantuan, or maybe a small colossal, like Colossal 1. Depends on the system. I don't really celebrate the size system the same way in my game as other people do. You know, there's like human-sized and then not human-sized. And I mean, it's just, I tried to simplify rules so the game was more playable is what I was doing. So anyways, giant robot in a room where he can't move around much. He has the obvious slam attack where he can run into you, run you over. He has a beam that can immobilize you. It's the small gun on his side. And then he has this big gun, which is a 3D6 or a 3D4, I haven't decided which, hole puncher, 3D6 hole puncher, which means it hurts bad. Now, when a base character in Tomorrow Comes Doom, if they have no modifiers or anything, has 10 health points or hit points, whatever you, 10 life. So it seems appropriate to me that someone who's been playing a while that might have 13 or 15 hit points could go down in one shot from a boss on a perfect damage or on a crit. So when your maximum damage is 18 plus 2, 20, you're likely going to put people down occasionally. At least that's my thought. Probably should have base coded this in something else first. I didn't. So that's that. Welcome to the suck. I really just need the front to look decent anyways. I don't really care about the back. With my makeup brush from earlier, let me dry it off some. Get some of this gray. And break up my face a little bit. This would have been better with a drier brush, but it'll work. Close enough for government work. Alright. How's the moving magic happen at this point? So what I want to do no, it's too big. I want to do an experiment. Now, I usually freehand my lines. But I want to try something else today. I want to try to make them not freehand. Nah, I better freehand them. Fuck it. That is definitely how you would not freehand it, what I was just doing. But remember, this is for theater. This is all for theater. Forever DM. I talked about it in one of the last couple of videos. Somebody in the comments mentioned they weren't sure what the definition was of that. So a forever DM basically is you're the person in your group that read the books when you were young or whenever you got into the hobby. You learn the rules. You run the best game out of everybody. And every time anybody else runs a game, it flops or fails or people get mad or they don't want to play or the DMs get tired of it and they don't want to do it. And then it comes back to you being the DM again. So over the years, you will inherently just always be the DM. That's a forever DM. That's what I am. I'm going to go grab some black spray and do these up and then set them over there. I don't think many people set out to be the forever DM. It's just kind of a side effect. Now, you can think of it as like a compliment. Oh, I'm the forever DM. I did a good job. But it always comes back to the real truth. Is that unless you're like really good at doing it on the fly or you have a lot of experience and you can just do it on the fly, being a DM takes prep. It takes work. It takes learning. It takes effort. I'm going to go set this in front of the fan for a minute. We're going to be going back to fantasy soon. Maybe not in my tabletop campaign, but on the channel. Because I feel like there's a lot less people doing futuristic stuff and junk stuff and modern stuff than there are people doing fantasy. You always hear people talking about the fantasy trope. And when you look at a lot of the games that are out there, except for like some of the war games, they're mostly geared for fantasy. There's not so, like my Wild West stuff, I didn't get a lot of views on that. Apparently I'm the only person interested in the Wild West. And the 20 people that watch. And that's what it is. There's about 20 of you guys. And I think it's probably the same 20 of you guys that watch regularly. I know, like, when it comes to some of you guys like John and Jake and RC and Sweeney, and if I'm leaving anybody that like comments like every time, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to blow you off or forget you. But you have the same same 5 or 6 commenters, Sam, East Ohio, and you know, you have the same kind of few people always commenting. And I think it's the same way with the viewership. I think it's the same several people that just watch all the time. And that's fine. I'd make this if it's just one person watching it. If one person's getting some enrichment out of this or learning something that they can use, or if they're just getting some entertainment out of seeing my dumbass struggle through life and trying to make a YouTube channel. You know? This should have been base coated and spray painted too. Oh well. RC, a lot of people, I don't know if you're on the Discord, but a lot of people want to be in games. And I've tried to run games on Discord, and it was just a matter of getting everybody to be able to come on the same days and play. And I've thought about trying to run another game on Discord. It's just, it takes a certain commitment. Maybe in a few months when my work stuff settles down, I'll try to get back into it. All right, we're going to call that the win there because I don't feel like fucking with this thing all day. I think we're already close to an hour at this point, if I'm not mistaken. This is not a good brush for what I'm using it for, by the way. Well, this one's not completely painted all the way and it doesn't look good, and I don't care. Sometimes, especially when game night's tonight, it's just got to be good enough. The flashing light that blinds people, depending on what save you're using, starts a new phase in the fight. So the first fight's hard. The first part's hard enough. It's shooting a laser that immobilizes you. It's shooting a laser that punches holes in you. It's trying to run you over and physically crush you to death. You're being potentially blinded for a turn every 1d3 turns. There's a projector that you have to pass saves or fall for obstacles that distract you. This is the projector. And there's a little bit more to that light. If you destroy the next thing, the flashing light, which I'm going to get, if you destroy the flashing light, which this is going to have to be black bombed. There's no way around it. I can gray bomb it maybe. I'll just black bomb it. If you destroy the flashing light, it sends the tank bot into a distressed state where it feels like within the parameters of his mission that it can't protect the location anymore. And it's going to start sending an electrical chain lightning effect, which is it's relatively weak. Where's this fucking paint lid at? Oh, it's relatively weak. It's a 1d4, well, 1d3 plus 1 actually, I think is what I ended up setting it at. So it's like a 1d3 plus 1 chain lightning. And the first person that passes the save stops the chain from going, but it will bounce through the entire party as long as they're within 30 feet of each other. Let's let that sit in front of the fan and I'll go get the blades. Now, I want the base of the blades to be just pavement. And I'm not going to put any real effort into those. But the blades themselves, I'm going to do a really shit dry brush on them. And I mean really shit. And then do the edges with a brighter silver. So I'm just going to, with wet paint here, kind of paint around on these water bottle lids. And get up underneath the blades. It needs to be kind of wet so that it gets in the cracks pretty good and doesn't leave those black. That's the only thing I'm trying to do is keep those from being black. And then if you want to, you can get up under the blades so that when you look at it from above, it's gray. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Then I'm going to hit this with a hot air gun and get a metallic and a dry paint brush from the Dollar Tree, a makeup brush. Set that off to the side. Okay. Any kind of metallic will do. You can do it in like a silver or a copper or a bronze or whatever you want. Mine are going to be silver. So using a Dollar Tree makeup brush. I'm going to turn those silver like that. I'm not killing myself for putting too much effort into this. I want it to be done. I have to sleep before game night still. I worked all night covering a shift. So now I need that brighter silver. I'm going to use a miniature paint because I have a really bright silver called Shining Silver. That'll be perfect for this kind of gig. So I'm going to get a drop of my Shining Silver. I'm going to get my brush. It's pretty damp. It has a nice point. And I'm just going to, I'm not going all the way back to the edge. I'm just going most of the way and leaving part of it dark. Because I want that to show the representation of the way that it spins. So if somebody asks, I'll remember which way it's spinning. And they're not both going to be the same. I'm going to do them opposite. The worst part about these blades is they're controlled by AI. And they can move around on the floor. They're not stationary. So if you start like fucking with the blade or trying to get it stuck or turn it off in any way, or you shoot at it, it'll move. It'll go hide or go stand behind the bastion, or it'll go, you know, behind the robot somewhere. It'll go away. And then we'll just make the tops of these kind of shiny and nice just because we have our silver out. Okay, so we have 3 pieces completely done. I wanted to come back on this one and do something with these edges up here where the yellow is sticking through. So I think this metallic would be a good chance to kind of hide some of that yellow like that. And make this a little more interesting. Okay, and we have one more piece to do, and that's the light. See, I told you we were going to put some scatter for the fight. We were going to do some interior detail stuff. And if everybody's really good, I'll bring the hanger back over and we'll set it all in here and take a picture. So here's this. We're going to use that. Oh, I threw the makeup brush in the water. I forgot I was using it for this. All right. I'm going to get another makeup brush. This will be the 3rd brush I'm using for this build, for these scatter pieces. And I'm going to need a little bit more. It's not quite enough. Okay, there we go. I'm going to liberally hit my light post and my base area with that. Then I'm going to get this lighter silver, the brighter silver. Just like that. I'm going to kind of make it a little more noticeable. Just like that. Then I'm going to get this brush. I'm going to do a white off-white on the ball. So before I do that, let me hit it with the air gun to make sure there's no metallic on there showing. Not showing, but wet. I'm going to use an off-white first. Maybe if I can find one. Here we go. I hope this is mixed properly. Okay. And all I'm trying to do is come around the bottom here and paint it half decent. Okay. Now, if Buck's watching, I know you think this is a marital aid. This is not a marital aid. Call me, Buck, or text me. I miss you, bud. Last time we spoke, I was about to walk into work and I couldn't really talk. I thought about using a tea light to do this, and I realized I'm not motivated to do that. So I have a blue here. I'm going to mix it with that shining silver color. And attempt to make a really light metallic blue. I don't know how well it's going to work, but it might work good. We'll see in a minute. La 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 la. If you had not done that off-white or any kind of light color underneath this, the black would be showing through. And you'd have to do multiple coats. But going much lighter than what you're going for, then painting over it, will generally give you a two-stop shop instead of fighting with it all day. And I know this concept, and I've known it for a long time. I'm just lazy, and I always don't think, I just do. But since I was kind of thinking this morning. All right. Now, the top of lights is always a little bit brighter. So what I'm doing is I'm getting that off-white color, mixing it in there, trying to grab a little bit more of the silver than the blue. And I'm just going to kind of rub the top of this. And come around the bottom a little bit with some dabs. Then I get more of that white and more of the blue than the silver. I just want to kind of come around the center in some spots and simulate that that's glowing brightly. That's all I'm doing. I don't know how good that's going to look in the end. Then I'm going to get the dot of that white and just touch it up there because I think it'll look okay. Now we have those buttons to deal with. Too easy. We got 3 buttons. We're going to get that red we were using earlier. We're just going to drag it across those because they're 3D and sticky uppy. Sticky uppy is a technical term. Okay, I got some shit there that I don't want. See that on the stem? So I'm just going to try to dry my brush off the best I can and get black. And just drag a band of black around there and clean that up a little bit just to make it look a little less wonky. Close enough for government work. All right, that's our 5 scatters that we're going to have in the dealy bob there. Get my brush put away. Where does that go? Oh, it goes in this cup. Brush cup, brush cup. All right, so let's hit these with the air gun. I'm going to grab the clear coat real quick. We're going to have to dry this stuff all the way. This is actually going to double as an AI unit that can give quests later on in this same game world. Because I'm lazy. I'll be right back. Me. Get them started on the... All right, I'll put that away. I'll be right back. Now these are pretty much done. They need to, you know, the clear coat needs to actually sit and cure, but we're not going to have time for that. So a nice touch would be to get gloss Mod Podge. Okay, that's dry. As I was saying, a nice touch would be to get some gloss Mod Podge. And there we go. Make some of the stuff shiny. So I'm just going to get it on here, and I'm going to hit this ball. Semi-evenly, making sure not to get it on my stem. You know, thin coat of this actually makes it pretty shiny. Okay. Get your official removal tool. Okay. Okay. And let's get the hanger. And let's figure out how this fight goes. Alright, I'm going to use random miniatures I have sitting around to simulate the party. Can we see the box here? Alright, so when you first come in, the only thing you're going to immediately notice is a bastion, crookedly placed, a warning sign kind of in the middle of the thing. There is a bright light. You can put that anywhere. Mine's going to kind of sit over here. And then in the corner, make it look like a box at first. Don't expose the lens side of the projector. Like I said, they're not going to know it's a projector. Now, I have some scatter crates and stuff I'm going to be throwing in here too. I didn't make new stuff for this. When the party comes in, and not until they're completely in, will this place light up. It'll stay so dark that even when they shine a flashlight, it will be mirrored back at them. That is something that the projector is doing. So until they all come inside, we're going to just grab these three. Look, it's that little doofy feller. This is a Dungeons by Shark. All right, so they do not see the blades. The blades, in this area here, the blades are hidden, and they lay flush on the ground in the dimness, and they don't pop up and start spinning until somebody moves in to try to get in melee range. If they all stay back here during the whole fight, the blades will never pop up. Okay? So we're going to assume the fight takes off. They come in, the door shuts. Easy enough. You shut the door. I don't have a door made for this, but you can imagine what a door would look like, I think. So we'll say the door shuts. Boom. Now they're in here with it. The room comes to a dim glow, almost like low light vision would be even the edge of being able to really see what's going on. And then that's when the headlight, which is right here, pops on and illuminates this area enough that they could see those with a good check. This light has done nothing yet. The fight has not started. The fight does not start until they pass this yellow thing, until the door is shut, and this thing gives them a warning that they can still leave, and they, of course, won't take it because they're players. Or they try to bypass this in any way. They try to bypass this in any way. Giant robots with clamper arms will come, drag them, and hold them in here until they're all in here, and then they'll let them go and the fight will start. Once you provoke trying to get into the Bluefield Camp Winchell installation in any way, whether you try to drill a hole in or get whatever you try to do, you will be drugged to this fight. The reason for that is because what's in here is protected for the future of humanity. There's seeds and books and just everything you could think of, fertilizer, crude oil stores, everything you need to survive. There's vehicles packed up in crates, oiled and sitting and sealed up so they don't rust. Everything you need is in here to restart the world. At least that's what the people who prepared this bunker thought. They didn't realize that the bunker would be, lost, and that this hangar would never be opened again. Everyone inside was gassed. The government didn't trust the employees to do the right thing. They thought they would just try to live in here forever. But they know they needed the world to be reset. So they have other places where, like, the smart people that are going to repopulate are at. And they're going to come to Bluefield when it blows over. Kind of like a Fallout kind of situation. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a giant Fallout guy. I've been playing Fallout 76, but I don't know a lot about the lore, really. But anyways, so this robot, this tank bot, he knows what the passphrases are that you're supposed to have to be from one of the qualified people. And if you don't have those, you don't get even to go look for them. You're in a fight. If you kill the tank bot and do not completely scorched earth destroy it, in 1d6 hours, it will wake up and start repairing itself. Other robots in the facility will crawl to it, walk to it, however they can get to it, and help rebuild it, at the expense of their own components even. They will try to make it look as close to original as possible. If you really want to be awesome, and you want to make your party fight it again, I would build like a shitty tank bot that is vaguely shaped like this, but has like junky parts and random pieces of cardboard stuck to it and stuff. I would really go out of my way to make like a secondary. So here's the fight. The fight starts. If you come into melee range, the blades go. The projector is making a mirrored reflection, so anytime you're trying to shine a light here before the fight starts, it stops you. Little robots that work in the facility may or may not come into the fight area. You're not sure from where. The truth is, there are ports in the floor that where the floor goes down and they can come up. I didn't make things for it. You don't need them. The party doesn't need to see a miniature of that. So there might be 4 of those, however you want to do it. And robots come up. But sometimes there's no robots. It's the projector tricking you. you have to roll a perception check or a awareness check or, whatever. Even sense motive could work if it's a whatever check's appropriate for your system. Every 1d3 rounds, but it starts on the first round, the light flashes. When the light flashes, it sends off a need for everyone to roll a save. So like if you were in 3-5, I would say it's probably like a reflex save to close your eyes in time, or a might save to withstand, or a constitution, fortitude save to withstand the brightness without being blind. However you want to work it. If you were playing, later editions, it could be, a constitution save or whatever, or a dexterity save. If you're playing my system, it's going to be an agility save to close your eyes or shield your face in time. If you do not do that, you will take a point of damage. You will suffer -4 to everything you do because you're blinded for that turn. And this starts at the beginning of the round before the round starts. Before the first person for whoever rolled initiative goes, the light's going to flash. I got some more of this down here I didn't get off. So that's how that fight works. Now, remember what I said about... I usually don't make videos like this, and I don't know how long I have to ramble. Remember what I said about the ways the robot attacks. Its first attack is it has the immobilizing cannon. The immobilizing cannon shoots a ray of energy at the ground, not at your legs, at the ground. And the armor class of the ground is low because it has no armor and it's not moving. So it's hitting the defense score of the ground below you, and it's sending an electric current up your legs that makes you kind of pee yourself if you fail a save, and it makes you crumble to the ground. It's a prone position because your legs turn to jello. There's 2 levels of the save. The first level is real easy. In my system, it's a 5 and a 10. I'm sorry. It's a 5 and a 15. If you get a 15, you don't fall to the ground. If you get a 5, if you don't get a 15, you fall to the ground. If you don't get at least a 5, you also pee and poop yourself. Everything lets go. And that doesn't really do anything, but after you're not blind or after you're able to get back up, you're going to be at a -1 to everything you do because your pants are soaked and full of poop. And if you fail that more than once, you don't poop again or pee again. You fail it one time and you do that, and that's it. You'll have to clean up later because you can't be out adventuring with shit in your pants and pee in your pants. You could, but it's not cool. So anyways, I was laying in the prone position with a rifle for a long period of time once and tried to pee my pants, and it was like impossible. You can't make yourself pee yourself very easily. Even in a combat situation where you just can't get up and run around, you're watching something, or you're in the middle of a firefight, or you're in a situation where you have to pee so bad it hurts. If you could just pee, you could focus better on the horrible situation you're in. You're like, you know what? I've heard stories. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to pee my pants, and then you can't do it. It's impossible to make yourself pee your pants. I mean, you could, I suppose. I couldn't. Eventually, I found a way to roll and kind of like open my pants up and pee down a hill, but it was long after time. I was in agony. That's stupid. I don't even know why I'm telling you that shit. So anyways, you pee and poop yourself, you'll be at a -1 to everything you do outside of the other conditional modifiers. So you're getting blinding light. The Bastion exists for 2 reasons. 1, for you to use as cover, and 2, anytime the blades get hurt, they can go hide behind the Bastion, and they get 100% cover because the Bastion's 3 foot tall, so they get that cover bonus. For them, it's 100%. For you, it's only going to be 60%. Now, once the party's all aware of the projector, you can turn it around and they can see the red light. And then every time the projector's doing something in the round, they're going to get a bonus of +2 on their check to see if something's real or a hologram. But only if they know that's there. So if they know it's there, they'll get that +2 bonus because they'll see it lighting up and sending a signal out. But it's futuristic tech. I can't explain to you how it works. It's super top secret. So there you go. And you want to have the buttons away from them. So as the DM, the fight faces away from me like this. They see it from their perspective. They're on that side of the table. I'm on my side of the table. And this bot can move around only so much, okay? He can't go everywhere in here. His goal is to make sure they don't get past that sign. He will try to run you over. If you step up into here, he will try to come up and hit you. If the blades are up, he doesn't care. He will kill his blades. Bots below will fix the blades and send new ones up, or the blades will just be out of the fight, or however you want to do it. So anyways, this is the hangar fight. This is the way to get into the Bluefield bunker. I do want to make some special tiles for the bunker. If they make it to this point tonight, I plan on ending the night on this fight around midnight-ish. So I plan on starting this fight at about 11:25 and having it over by midnight. And then we can call it a night and come back next week. I try to, you have to understand when you have a party, they just do what the hell they want. They don't do your plan. So you have to be pretty good at tricking them into thinking they've used their agency to make the calls that got them to this point. I wouldn't say trick them, but you nudge them. And a lot of players, especially if they're good players, will see that if a DM puts a lot of work into stuff, they're going to get a collaborative story that they can be part of if they play along with the DM. Is it really railroading at that point? No, it's collaborative storytelling. Railroading is if it's like, no matter which way you go, I tell you you're going to go left. No matter what decision you make, you're going to save the damsel and you're going to work for the sheriff. That's railroading. You can indirectly railroad, you can directly railroad, or you can get the party to play along. And good players and smart players know that if you work with the DM, you're going to get more content, you're going to get to do more things, and you're going to get rewarded more. So keep that in mind. They will make it here by 11:25-ish tonight if everything goes according to plan. And maybe next time I make a video, tomorrow or something, I want to make some tiles for that now. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't need to make tiles. I need to paint tiles. These are the prototype tiles that I want to use. I just haven't finished poking holes in them for rivets and shit. These are the prototype tiles I want to use. I just don't feel like they're going to be done in time, so because I got to sleep. And this is what they look like painted up. That's the test one. And then I decided not to do these little rivets because that's too much work, or those little bolts, and just to stick with the dots. So anyways, that's that. That was a long video. We got through it in one piece even. So do me a favor, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, and all the happy crappy that helps the channel grow. Leaving comments, obviously top-notch response. Leaving comments makes me happy. And it gives me something to do when I'm at work or I'm bored. And here's the hanger one last time. I'm going to go ahead and pop this open though for the photo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.